I see you, Mad Max, and I hear you loud and clear. What, wondering why I'm calling you Mad Max? That's a name I give to people like us who chase max stats when we could be content settling for less. For lack of a better term, it can drive us mad when we know there's something better out there.
What a lovely day!
This is basically akin to the completionist mentality. Anybody know anyone like this? We're the people who put the time in to get the S-Class freighter. We're the people who warp through countless galaxies to snag an awesome multi-tool we saw on Reddit. So, it does make sense that we're the people who will visit all the vendors at the space station to see if there's any mods that are better than what we already have. Because, well, anything less is just plain inferior. As you already know, mods enhance our tech in 4 different categories. Our Exocrafts, Exosuit, Multitools, and Starships. And within each category lies a variety of weapons and enhancements that can make a newcomer's head spin. Fear not, though. After watching this video, you'll not only know all the possibilities for upgrades, you'll also know what the best stats are for each, and most importantly, how to go about hunting for them in the most efficient way possible. I have little doubt that many of my subscribers will take notice that I won't be touching on X-Class mods in this video. And for anyone unsure what X-Class mods are, they're available to purchase with tainted metal from the scrap dealer at the space station. You can also use nanites to buy them from random NPC pilots. The lure of these mods are their potential. They have the potential to surpass any S-Class mods as far as max stats are concerned. But more times than not, they're a major disappointment. So the reason I'm not touching on these is simple. They've been an absolute waste of time for me thus far, and honestly, I just grew tired of trying. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Mad Max, but I'm not that mad. It's hard to say how many of these I've purchased, but if I had to guess, I'd say like 99.5% of my purchases have been absolute, well, dog shit. So if you'd love to try your luck and burn some tainted metal, please feel free. And if you have any luck, make sure and drop a comment below to let me know exactly how unlucky I've been. With the X-Class mods out of the way, I want to give a big shout out to the No Man's Sky Wiki for providing the statistical skeleton for this video, as well as their explanation of the mechanics behind how stats work. Now, I did have to read through it a couple times, but once it clicked, it was eye-opening. A link to their awesome knowledge bank is in the video's description. So moving forward, when I talk about max stats, I'll always be referring to only S-Class mods. Without knowing what the max stats for each mod is, you won't have any idea how good or bad your current setup is. So let's break down the max stats surrounding the 4 categories of mods, and after that, we'll dive into the mechanics of how to manipulate your purchases and get the highest possible stats for any given mod. For your convenience, I've added timestamps in the description in case there's a specific area you'd like to return back to. As you're most likely aware of, there are 6 different Exocrafts in the game. It's important to note that 4 of them can share mods in the areas of engine and boost performance, as well as mods for cannon and mining lasers. Those are the Roamer, the Nomad, the Pilgrim, and the Colossus. The other 2 each have their own unique set of mods that can't be used on anything else. And those would be the Minotaur and the Nautilon submarine. We'll get to those in a sec. So to circle back to the first 4, the max stats for engine, boost, cannons, and mining lasers are as follows. I'll hang on to this frame for a bit if you want to screenshot it or jot it down somewhere for later. Moving on, the Minotaur and Nautilon, as I mentioned earlier, have their own upgrades. The Nautilon has the Humboldt engine to upgrade as well as its cannon. The Minotaur has its engine, cannon, and mining laser. Their max stats are as follows. Exosuit mods fall into 3 categories: life support, movement, and shields. Within life support, you'll notice 2 stats, which are tank size and solar power. Movement mods actually have 6 different stats to look for, but only 4 will be present on any mod, with 2 always being present and 2 being randomly drawn from the remaining 4. Lastly, there are shield mods, which contain just 2 stats: core health and shield strength. We now move on to multi-tool mods, which have a boatload of choices when it comes to weaponry, as well as utilities such as mining lasers and scanners. So let's take a look at the utilities first to get a sense of what the max stats are. Now we move on to the fun part, the multi-tool weaponry. Depending on your level of experience with the game, I'm sure you have your go-to weapon of choice, depending on the situation, so here's a look at the max stats you can achieve with each mod. Keep in mind that some weapons have many different options, but randomly choose which show up to be used. Depending on the weapon, some draw 2, 3, or 4 out of their available pool of options. You'll see that I've made a note of that when that's the case. Alright, last up on our look at max stats is the one thing we can't do without, our ship. Here's a look at max stats in the areas of weapons, followed by shields, pulse engine, and hyperdrive. Now that we're armed with the knowledge of what the ceilings are, let's dive into the mechanics of how these stats are generated and, most importantly, how to efficiently fish out the best ones without burning through thousands of nanites. So let's take a look at what the No Man's Sky Wiki has to say about upgrade mods. I'm not going to read the entire thing to you, but I'll just boil it down in simple terms that hopefully everyone understands. Mods and their stats are predetermined and static, just waiting to be used. Their order is unaffected by reloads and will never deviate from their order of installation. Think of it as getting a soda from a vending machine with only one selection button and all the varieties are mixed up. But even though their order is mixed, it's static and can actually be predicted. All you know is you want a Dr. Pepper, so maybe it comes out next, or maybe you have to go through 4 Diet Cokes to get it. So if we apply this analogy to getting the best mods, we first need to take a sneak peek at what order they're being spit out. So for this example, we'll use Exocraft boost mods, but know that this process will be the same for any family of mods you're wanting to upgrade. So as you can see, we have 5 S-Class boost mods and a few C-Class mods as well. Just to start with a clean save point, I'm going to hop in and out of my ship. Now comes the fun part. We're going to install all the S-Class mods on our roamer. Just make sure you have space, obviously, to do so. It's very important you remember the order in which you've installed these in. So I cleared out my bottom row and will be installing left to right. So as I install these, I'm going to jot down the stats of each one in order of installation. Since I wasn't lucky enough to roll perfect stats on any of these, let's pretend that all of them just are crap, they suck, except for number 3, okay? So unfortunately, only 1 and 5 are actually usable in this example. Under normal circumstances, you would be out a lot of nanites as you buy up various S-Class mods looking for awesome stats. Well, here's where it gets interesting. Now that we know the order of installation, we'll reload our save point and we're going to substitute the cheaper C-Class mods and use them as placeholders. Remember, the stat order of mods is unaffected by reloads. When we get to the desired spot, in this case we're pretending number 3 is the one we want, we'll go ahead and install that one. As you can see, the order of installation is maintained, and we've not only got the mod we wanted, we also saved a boatload of nanites by using cheaper C-Class mods. Obviously, this is a little trickier on Exocrafts because your space is limited to installing multiple mods. But in the case of, say, a movement mod for your Exosuit, you'll have a lot more space to install and make note of which stats are in what order. Just make sure you're using C-Class mods as placeholders that are in the same family of the S-Class mod you're looking for. So, if it's a movement mod, for instance, you can use anything Exosuit related, but using a Starship, Multitool, or something else as a placeholder will not advance the installation since it's outside the Exosuit family. Hopefully by now you have a better understanding of how all this works, but if it's still a little fuzzy and you're not sure, throw a comment down below and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys. This video took quite a while to put together, so I appreciate a like and a subscribe. And if you really are appreciative, you can always check out my Ko-Fi link in the description. It's like Patreon, only they don't take a cut. Pretty nifty. This is Taylor with Whisky Barrel Gaming, signing off.